Hi, this is Justin Mansell from Active Optical Systems, and this is a video explaining how to change the frame size of the GoldEye CL33 Wavefront Sensor. I'll walk quickly through some setup prerequisites and then show you how to use the software to implement this change. First thing you need to do is install all of the AOS software and the National Instruments software. The AOS software can be found in the latest version on the SharePoint site. You'll then need to plug in the camera both in its camera link port to the National Instruments frame grabber and on its power port in order to put power into the camera. You'll need to have a key installed in a USB port on the computer that you're going to be using. And now I can show you how to use the software. So this change has to be implemented from inside of the Vimba software. What you want to do first is make sure that the camera is not running. We find that this actually makes things significantly faster. So I'll stop that here. Then go down to image format control and change the width and the height. So I'm actually going to start by changing it back to the maximum values. 512, enter, or slide this over. Okay, so we're seeing some errors show up down here. It's not executing this properly. This probably means it's lost its connection with the camera. So I'm going to close this out and bring it back up and see if we can get it to work. Okay, so I've reloaded Vimba and now it is communicating with the GoldEye camera and trying to read back all of its settings. Okay, so we have the Vimba software up again. I'm going to switch over to all here, go down to image format control, and then also open up acquisition control. So I'm going to make sure that it's stopped by executing a stop command. I can close that out and then come down here again, and let's change this all the way up to 512. I like to push enter there just to make sure it registered. It looks like it did and it set properly. And then I'll come back here and bring this all the way up to 640. And then there's that. And now I can go into the Max software, select the camera, and see it read out frames at full rate. What we've generally found is that this acquisition frame rate, there's a limit here and then there's the actual value here, is a very good indicator of what's happening in the camera. So we should be able to see Max report about 234 frames per second. So let's switch over to Max. Okay, so Max is running here. It's refreshing and checking for all of the devices. It's scanning. I happen to know that I already have it attached to my AOS software in the background here, so it's telling me I can't connect to it. So let me now disconnect from the AOS software, in fact shut it down. Let's see, I can come down here and just say, I can do two things. One is I think I can just switch over to here and that will release it. But the more, I think, thorough way of doing this, let's see if that worked. Didn't appear to actually release, so let's just close it and hit refresh again until we get this thing back. There we go. Okay, so I can select this. I can make sure this is set for 640 and set this one to 512, and let's see if I can snap a frame. Aha, I forgot to start it here, so I've got to go back here, execute a start command. There we go, close that, and now grab. So now I can see I've got a live view from the wavefront sensor. I'm just blocking the beam with my fingers there to show that it's working. And we're seeing about an acquired 230 frames per second, which is about what we expected. Okay, so I'll stop the grab here. I'll go back to this software. This is the Vimba software, and change this to, let's go something like 220 on both axes. Sometimes it looks like I have to hit enter twice on some of these. There it goes. It's still running in the background, so that also slows things down, as you can kind of see here. The acquisition frame rate jumped all the way back up to like 1.1 kilohertz. Sometimes this changes automatically, other times you have to go in and change it. My exposure time's at 100, that should be okay. And now I can switch back to max. Excuse me, change it here and here, and then grab. So it'll take a second, but there we go. It's reporting again that 1.1 kilohertz acquired frame rate. I think we're getting this working properly. And now we can switch over to the AOS software. I'm going to stop grabbing here, close, actually save my changes, close out Max, and then I'll run the AOS software. I'll leave Vimba running just because it doesn't seem to interact or affect the camera. So I'm loading up the AOS software now. The splash screen is coming up, and it'll take a second because the AOS software needs to go off and search for all connected hardware. We've got a lot of hardware options in the software, different cameras, things like this, and it'll take a moment for it to go through and try to find all of the different cameras it can. There it is. And now I know that I was on IMG0. I'll click on that one. And this takes a moment for it to negotiate via Max with the camera. And then I can say single acquire. And I'm starting to see spots come in here. It's a 220 by 220 image, 14 bits per pixel. Let me change a few other things here. This particular wavefront sensor, oops, forgot a 0 there. Let's see if that fixes it. Good. Has 15 micron pixels and an 8.7 millimeter focal length. Let me reanalyze an image here. The alignment mode is detecting indeed that we're very near collimated, if not perfectly collimated. And now I can say that I am ready to acquire. Let me create a reference first. I'm also picking out the top left corner here, so there's a few AOIs that are not illuminated, but I can go continuous acquire, and we're reading in frames. So we're seeing frames come in at this 25-ish frames per second, which is about what I'd expect from the AOS software, and it's having trouble rendering them all. Let me switch over to 2D plot land here, and we'll stop this and see that we're seeing a noise floor in this camera of something on the order of 6 nanometers in this configuration. Sometimes 12, sometimes 7, 13, there we go. And this is without tilt removed. Let's remove the tilt term and go back to analysis and see what we have. It's 3 nanometers of noise, 3 or 4 nanometers of noise. So this video explains how to change the frame size on the GoldEye camera. If you have any other questions, contact us via the AOS website at www.aos-llc.com. Thank you very much.